What's up, Wax? This is my attempt at sending you the worst podcast jingle ever and seeing if you'll still play it.
This is a video someone sent me this week. He's beating a coffee mug with a spoon.
Wax's podcast. Wax's podcast. Will he put it out? I don't know. But listen to that shit. Maybe Wednesday. Maybe not. Who knows? Wax podcast. With milk, bitches.
So last week on the podcast, I said that I'd play any jingle that anybody ever sent me. I said that 1,000% of jingles, Wax's podcast jingles sent to me would be played. 1,000% of jingles would be played 1,000% of the time. So the first one that I get after making that statement, of course, the first one I get is from Michael T., the former security guard. Michael T., the former security guard. Now, I'm kind of thinking, I've been making music for a long time. That's what I do for a living. It's like I said before, if you have a friend who's in the military, when you talk to them after they're out of the military or when they're on break from the military, they forget that when they speak to you that you don't know what the fuck they're talking about when they bring up military jargon. You'll be like, hey, so how was it over there? They'll be like, yeah, the C2 rations always fell through to the 4.5A6 arms ratio. And you're like, dude, I'm not in the Army. I have no idea what your lingo is. Same thing happens with people in the auto industry or whatever. Point being, in my head, when I say you're going to send me a jingle, I'm thinking you're going to send me some fucking music that you made with a recording program or something to that effect. I didn't really think about the fact that you can just fucking, set up your cell phone, videotape yourself, and do whatever the fuck you want. And of course, the first one I get, not only does Michael T. decide to improvise his own version of the podcast jingle, he did it as a direct challenge to me because I said I would play anything. The first one I get is a direct challenge to me saying, oh yeah, you'll play anything? How about this? I'll send you an iPhone video of me in my kitchen. I'll annoyingly beat the fuck out of a coffee mug with a spoon while I'm making coffee. And say something about milk. He gets his milk out of the refrigerator. And I'll tell you what, I fucking played it, didn't I? I fucking played it. Now, maybe in the future, I might have to impose rules. Maybe I'll have to say, you know what, you got to stick to the melody of the jingle. Maybe I'll say, you know what, it can't be a fucking video. You got to at least know how to extract the audio file from a video and send me the audio. Use your goddamn voice memos app. But I'm not saying that. As of right now, even with the challenge that was given to me by Michael T., the former security guard, even with that, I'm still going to say that I'll play every fucking jingle that's sent to me. That said, by the way, if you emailed me after February 26th, 6th is kind of a hard word to say if you really break it down. 6th. Oh, it's easy if you say it. 6th. If you think about it like ixth, it's easier than 6th. Anyway, I digress. If you emailed me after February 26th, I haven't seen your email yet. That's where I'm caught up to. That's pretty recent, it's pretty fucking recent, okay? It's like a week ago. About a week ago. But I did notice that a couple people have already sent me jingles. So the most recent one, the one that I got, not most recent, the opposite of most recent. The first, I looked ahead in my inbox and noticed that some people, via the subject line and the fact they had attachments on the email, I noticed some people had sent me jingles. So the first one to send me one was Michael T. Of course, the first one I got was this challenge one. So I still maintain that if you send me a podcast jingle, I will play it 1,000% of the time in 1,000% of the space. And that was the first one. if I get a bunch of them, I might not be able to, I might have to start doing 2 per episode or something like that. I don't know if that's the case. Anyway, send me your fucking beatsforwax@gmail.com. Feel free to send me your own version of the Waxes Podcast jingle. Feel free to email me a question. Feel free to email me and say you want a shout out. Feel free to email me and say, you know what, I hope you die. I don't care what, that's my email address that I do for the podcast, beatsforwax@gmail.com. Not the numbers, the FOR. Yeah. So the next couple weeks, the next couple podcasts, we got you guys can look forward to some exciting new jingles that are already in my inbox that I haven't listened to yet. I only listened to the one I played today. And, that's how life works. Some of you are probably thinking, can't you just play the awesome one that you made? The we don't even know what a podcast is one? Can't you just play the Patient Zero death metal version? Can't you just play Aaron the Violinist's chill version? How about Jay Cub's trumpet version? How about Ryan M. the songwriter's version of the Waxes Podcast jingle? No! Are you fucking happy, Michael T? Are you happy? Are you happy that everybody got to instead hear your shitty banging on a coffee mug? You contradictory, what's that word? You contrarian son of a bitch. I'm just fucking with you, obviously. Here we are. Waxes Podcast, episode 131. 131. I know that I said the last 2 podcasts that I would probably start doing advertising soon, but for some reason, I signed up for this advertising program, and they're still on some. We're looking into it. We're reviewing. You're under review. I don't know if that means my content might be too fucked up. Might cuss too much and say shit too much, bitch, fuck, cunt. I said that for the people reviewing it currently. It's so fucking corny. But anywho, what the fuck was I talking about? Yeah. I guess it's possible. I guess it's still possible that 200 people didn't fill out the survey. I find it hard to believe. But just in case, I got to say it again, y'all. Go to my Twitter, twitter.com/@BigWax. It's not, well, no, it's Twitter, @BigWax. Twitter.com/BigWax. The pinned tweet, the top tweet, is a link to fill out the survey so I can do advertising on this so I can make a couple bucks doing this podcast. I have enough downloads now. They just have, I guess they're reviewing my content. I have no fucking idea what they're doing. But if you could help me out and fill out that survey, I need 200 people to fill it out. I'm shocked that after 2 weeks that it hasn't been like that, especially because some people told me they fill it out. But hey, go fill it out again. Fill it out from a different IP address. I don't know. Got something else going on in my life, y'all. Another interactive. God, this podcast is all about interaction. Modern technology makes it so there's a connection. It used to be that you have an artist or a musician or actor, performer. There was a wall. There was a wall between the fan, a wall between the watcher, a wall between the person who is listening to the radio and the host of said radio show. Not anymore. Thanks to modern technology, everything is interactive. Follow me on Twitter. Like me on Facebook. Follow my stories and the life that I lead. And if you want to not only follow it, you can also comment on it and direct message me creepily. And say, give your opinion. Interact. Go back and forth with all your favorite artists. Thanks to modern technology. And there's nothing different about this podcast when referring to that, because I already told you you could do the jingle. I already told you you could email me. I already told you that you can go to my Twitter and help me out with the survey. But yet, this is the 4th interactive thing on today's podcast, and we're not even at the 10-minute mark yet. Today's interactive thing is the following. So today's Tuesday. I'm doing this podcast Tuesday night. What the fuck is the date? It's like the 7th or 8th. March 7th. Tuesday, March 7th. It's day 2. Anybody who's been listening to this podcast for a while knows that I always do these little health spurts. The main part of it is sobriety, but the other part of it is like, whether it be working out, doing yoga, eating healthy, not smoking, I like to do these little spurts. You know, the last couple months, let's be honest. Let me be honest with you about the way that I've been behaving. Last week's trip to Vegas didn't help, but I've been eating like a fat fuck, smoking like a chimney, and drinking like a fish, even though that's not really accurate, right? Fish breathe. I'm drinking water or alcohol the way that fish breathe water. How do fish survive? Do fish drink? I mean, they live in the water. Do they treat air the way that we treat water? They sip it down. The water's in their bellies. I have no idea. Anyway, I kind of have this thing where like I really only have a couple. I'm like an old school lawnmower. There's the tortoise and there's the hare. I only got 2 speeds. Not even the tortoise and the hare, because that would assume slow and fast. I'm like your standard light switch. I'm either on or off. And today's day 2 of a 30 days of health. Let's call it that. 30 days of health. No smoking. No drinking. And I'm going to do yoga every single day for 30. Not, you know what? I'm not going to do yoga every day. I'm going to do it 6 days a week because it's wise to rest your shoulders. It's wise to rest your shoulders. Anybody that does yoga, I know some of my people in the, some of my hip hop fans in Middle America are like thinking of all kinds of homophobic insults right now by the fact that I do yoga. You know what? Fuck you and all your chakras. Fuck you and your unaligned chakras. It's like, honestly, I don't really know anything about chakras either. But I think yoga aligns them or lubes them up. I recommend that shit. I don't give a fuck what kind of homophobic slurs you call me. I don't give a fuck what negativity you want to bring into my world with your fucking tweets and DMs that you're probably about to send on this interactive podcast. I'm going to use your negativity and throw it. I'm going to have a shield, man. With my shield, I'm going to use my yoga mat as a shield. And when you throw your negative insults at me, it becomes a positive ray of light. And it shoots right back in your face with yoga magic. And I'm going to recommend that shit to everybody. Honestly, man, doing yoga is like the most positive thing you can possibly do. Besides giving away to charity or volunteering in a soup kitchen, it's the most positive. I would argue that of all the shit that I've experienced, it's the most positive, selfish thing that I've ever done. It's not like volunteering at a soup kitchen. It's not like participating in Habitat Humanity. It's not even like helping an old lady across the street. It's a selfish activity. Like, yeah, it's good for the world probably, but you're really taking the time just to do good for yourself, and it feels wonderful. And it also has the other effect of being good for your body physically and mentally. So for the next 30 days, I'm not going to drink alcohol. I'm not going to smoke cigarettes. I'm going to do yoga every day. Actually, I'm going to do yoga 6 days a week so I can rest my shoulders on the 7th day. Maybe on that day I'll jog or something, but it's going to be 30 days of health. Just 30 days of health. And I don't really know how to, I'm not going to, the reason I say this is you'll find out, but I'm not going to give any rules to myself as far as eating. Like, there's not going to be actually rules I can break. But I'm going to try to eat healthy this whole time too. I'm going to try to kind of do like not really eat any sugar and bread and cheese and fucking French fries and fried chicken. You know, I'll eat chicken, but not fried chicken. I'm going to try to stick to like, you know, some eggs, vegetables, like chicken, A lot of greens, some fruits, you know what I mean? Because I've been getting a little blubbery, you know what I'm saying? Just out of shape looking and feeling. And this 30-day recharge, I like that. 30-day recharge. I like that. 30-day health. I was saying 30 days of health. 30-day health recharge. But my point is, the reason why I'm bringing this up to you, I don't have to tell you about this. I don't have to tell you about my private life. I mean, I don't have to do the podcast. I don't have to tell you anything. I don't even know who I'm talking. I mean, I'm kind of talking to myself right now. And the reason that I'm actually not talking to myself is the following. I'm going to make this a challenge that involves the podcast listeners. This is how I'm going to do it. I don't really know exactly how I'm doing it. I'm kind of making this up as I'm talking, but I will say this. There are some people in my life, mainly three. There's mainly three people in my life. My roommate, Davey Nathan, at Davey Nathan on Twitter and Instagram and shit like that. Fuck it, follow these people while I'm naming them. My other roommate, Camila Recchio. I always fuck up her name. Camilarecchio. This might be two C's, might be one. Doesn't matter. She's my roommate. Probably find her because I follow her. But that and my brother, who I talk to every day. My brother, Herbal T. Herbal T is great on Twitter. The reason I even bring up these people's Twitter names is because if I fuck this up, if I either A, smoke a cigarette, B, drink alcohol, or C, slip in the yoga department, they'll know. They'll be the only people in the world that can know. I could lie. You know what I'm saying? I could possibly lie. But if I do slip, if you find out, whether it's next week on the podcast, because I'll admit it, next week on the podcast, the first thing I'll do if I fail this challenge is admit it. I'll be like, you know what? Fucking took a shot of fucking Hennessy yesterday. You know what? I drank 14 gallons of vodka just before I hit record. You know what? Or, you know what? I took one drag off of a cigarette. Anything. I will admit it. And the first 25 people to email me after that, I will fucking PayPal you $20 a piece. That's $500. I'm putting $500 on the line. If you find out, you know, because I don't trust myself. That's why I'm giving you these outs. That's why I'm giving you my brother, Herbal T, who I talk to almost every day. My two roommates, Davey and Camila, who I live with. If you have a suspicion, if there's something in the back of your mind that says, you know what, I bet you Wax got fucked up today. You know what, I bet you Wax just got back from the gas station with a pack of Marlboro Mediums in his hand. That's how long I've been smoking. They haven't been able to call them shits Marlboro Mediums in like 10 years, and you still just say Marlboro Mediums. They know what you're talking about. It's ridiculous. Same thing with lights, I guess. But, you know, it's day 2. Not feeling good. I feel okay. I mean, the yoga keeps you in check, but, you know, anybody that's quit smoking cigarettes knows that that nicotine itch is a cunt. That nicotine itch is a bitch. But, you know, I'm confident, and that's how confident I am. I'm not telling you to fucking... I just realized I'm telling you to harass... I kind of am telling you to harass people I know. They don't know about this. I didn't tell them about this. I just made this shit up. But I'm putting $500 down. The first $25 that email me after finding out that I failed the challenge will each receive $20 in their PayPal account. Don't have PayPal? Well, I don't know what to tell you about that. I'm not gonna send it to you in the mail. I'm not gonna go to the fucking post office. I guess I could Venmo it to you. Does that mean you have to have my phone number? Because I'm not doing that either. I don't want you to have to. You're gonna have to sign it. You know what? If you don't have PayPal, you fucking know somebody who does. You know somebody who has a PayPal email address that you can get their email address. I'll deposit in their PayPal, and you can get it back from them. First 25 people, I will send them $20 if I fail. And if my fucking the people I just mentioned, if they lie, I mean, I guess now we're talking about some courtroom shit right now. If they lie, they wouldn't lie? Davey would lie. Davey would fucking lie. He'd be like, yeah, I saw him smoking yesterday. So don't hit him. I guess you could still ask him, but the offer's out there. I don't know exactly how that works, but I'll be honest with you. I'll admit it. So that means if I admit it on the podcast and that's how the cat gets out of the bag, essentially it'll be the first people to listen to the podcast and email me next week. And you just email me and, if that happens to be the case, just email and be like, if you're worried about your email getting to me fast, just be like, broke, just failed, just subject line failed. And that's good enough. Don't even need a body or either subject or body of the email. It just says failed. First 25 people putting $500 on the line. This is for the sake of me and the sake of you. I turn my challenge into your entertainment. That's what I'm trying to do in a very minimal way. If I was really turning my challenge into your entertainment, I would hire a fucking camera guy and make it a vlog series. But you know what? I'm not doing that. I got other stuff going on. I'm writing songs. I'm writing some pretty awesome songs. Okay? Now, I had a meeting this week with a guy. I'm going to start soon. I'm going to start doing my monthly acoustic and comedy show in LA. Probably going to start in May. Because the venue that I really, really like is just kind of booked solid. And the guy was really cool and he likes my shit and he likes my idea for a show. But they probably won't be able to start doing it till May. So I have that time to prep and I have that time to do things such as the health challenge and write more songs. Got some new shit, man. Got some new goddamn shit. I also got me and Davey's side project. It looks like will be coming out in that time too. I'm not exactly sure when it's going to come out, but if all goes well, I'll be shooting a music video for me and Davey's side project later this month, maybe early next month. Excited about that. Shit is dope. Besides that, it's been pretty quiet on the home front. Excited for tomorrow. Me and my boy Kurt B are going and playing some fucking golf. About noon tomorrow, we will be on the links. God, I really am getting old. I'm fucking doing yoga and playing golf. Wearing pajama pants right now as I record this. I wear pajama pants. I play golf. I do yoga. What the fuck, man? I'm getting old. I'm actually writing a song. That's one of the many songs I'm writing right now is about getting old. It's a sad process, man. Sad. You know what makes me sad is listening. Not all the time. Sometimes it makes me happy and excited and makes me relate to the youth. But sometimes listening to the modern music makes me feel sad and old. I am actually, some of you might be surprised by this, but I'm a fan of an artist, a young rapper named 21 Savage. I think the dude is funny. I think he's kind of clever. And I just every once in a while like listening to his music. But it makes me feel ridiculously old. Like me and him live on two separate planets. His interests, his fucking sense of what's the word I'm looking for indestructibility. He has a sense of indestructibility and live every day like, and this is a fucking gangster aesthetic, I think a lot of like people that grew up in the suburbs and shit like that, I think we don't even when we are young, we don't fully appreciate this. See, when I was young, I felt indestructible. And I feel like I kind of like really lived every day. But like if you're from a fucked up area in a gangster type of situation, you really don't know which day is going to be your last. So what the fuck are you going to do besides fucking get money, fuck bitches, get high, and just stunt? It makes so much sense to me. It makes so much sense. And even as somebody like me, like I there's a certain, I'm not jealous of the violence. I think the violence is horrible. I think it's fucking sad that people live like that. But it's the attitude that comes along with all that shit that, puts me on in a different whole world. You know what I mean? I think about my future. Even when I was younger, I probably thought about my future more than somebody like 21 Savage does. Maybe he's become less savage since he's gotten, a lot more financial freedom. Could have moved to a different neighborhood. Might be in the burbs now, might be in just like a high-rise awesome apartment somewhere. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows how long it takes to transition from I don't give a fuck and I don't know which day it will be my last to I am in a different tax bracket now and I have to think about 401ks and shit. I think that most rappers, athletes, myself included, I don't really give a fuck about that. You know what I mean? I think that that's something that comes with just old age and just like, oh shit, I'm still alive. I think sometime in your early 30s, you just kind of go, I'm still alive? Fuck. I think in the back of your mind, you were kind of hoping to die young. 21 Savage. Yeah, so I don't know how I got on that, but, I guarantee you 21 Savage doesn't do yoga. I would bet money that 21 Savage doesn't play golf. More likely that he plays golf than he does yoga, because golf is probably looked at as something that could be relatively ballin' if you looked at it the right way. Yoga is just something that would be looked at as a sissy-like activity by somebody such as 21 Savage, I imagine. 21 Savage does not go on 30-day health sprees. He pops Percocet and drinks lean like it's nothing. He brags about it. He can't even survive without. All he does is pop perks and sip lean and drive around. While doing that, he has a gun in his pocket. Why would you do that? Why would you put yourself at such risk? I understand why you'd have the gun, but if you're going to have the gun and be driving, don't be on perks and lean. Get an Uber. But you know what? He doesn't give a fuck about that. His name is 21 Savage. He probably named himself, I don't know how old 21 Savage is. For all I know, he's 19. I don't know. But he probably named himself 21 Savage on his 21st birthday. He probably did some savage shit on his 21st birthday. And somebody's like, oh, he's Savage, 21 Savage. He's like, yeah, I like that. And he didn't think like, oh, shit, one day I'm actually going to be 22. And that's not even a year from now. I can't be 22 Savage, then 23 Savage, then 24 Savage. He probably figured that his life is so fucking crazy. He has so many enemies. He has so many enemies in his neighborhood, and he sees so much fucked up shit. And he takes so much Percocet that he figured that he wouldn't even make it to 22. So he called himself 21 Savage. This is all conjecture. This is all 37 conjecture. That's my fucking name. My name's 37 conjecture. Now my name is 37 Yoga. What's like the, if he's savage, what do those fucking yoga chicks say? Fucking, I'm 37 spiritual. He's 21 Savage. I'm 37 spiritual. That's where my life is at. And it's fucking sad sometimes, okay? It can be sad 21 Savage. You know what? Soon 21 Savage. One day he'll be 30 Sadness. Hopefully he doesn't become 35. Where'd all the money go, Idge? I hope he has a good life. He deserves it. We all do. But I'll be playing golf tomorrow, man. Nice little par three. Me and like, don't get it twisted, man. I don't know shit about golf. I don't own any golf equipment. I have a fucking set of clubs that are from the thrift store, and we go to the par 3 course. They play a 9-hole par 3. I bring a putter and 2 other clubs. A putter, a pitching wedge, and like maybe a 7-iron or something like that. But we're going to the Van Nuys. Well, I shouldn't tell y'all motherfuckers where we're going. There's a couple different ones in Van Nuys. You don't know where or when we're going. Shit. You won't even listen to this in time you won't even listen to this in time to make it to where we going. We going to one we haven't been yet. And it's going to be awesome. So nice out there playing golf, man. You leave your fucking phone in the car. You never take your phone on the golf course. You always leave it in the goddamn car. You don't look at social media while on the golf course. You only look at trees, squirrels, fairways, greens. Analyze what you might have to do on the next shot, then totally fuck it up. I'm terrible at golf. Kurt's actually pretty good. I'm terrible at fucking golf. But it's the most fun thing I do. Yoga is the most beneficial, selfish thing I do. Golf is the most fun thing I do. All this shit is second to songwriting, I guess, you know? That's my true love and passion, dude. What else am I fucking talking about? I actually wrote down a couple things. Let me see. Fucking 21 Savage, man. He bought the bitch a Porsche. Bought the bitch a New Yorkie. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, man, but it's just violent. Just violence and Percocet, and the beats are just like the way he raps is just, it's fucking amazing, man. Because he's not. Now there's this shit. I don't know if he's considered to be in the genre of quote unquote mumble rap. I can't stand the fucking true school hip hop people that are like that wear shirts that say like, I miss 90s hip hop. True hip hop head. Shit changes, man. Were you saying that in the 90s? Were you saying like, yo, this is bullshit, man? I like the 80s shit. No. People thought that hip hop music would be like disco and last 2 or 3 years in the early 80s. But what they didn't realize is that rap, yeah, hip hop is a genre, quote unquote. But what really happened was rapping was invented as a new musical instrument. To say that hip-hop is only going to last 2 or 3 years, it's almost like saying the guitar is only going to last 2 or 3 years, or singing is only going to last. Like, the amount of things you can do by rhythmically using your voice and using rhyming words, or alliteration, or metaphors, or double entendres, or fucking just basically rhythmically using your voice. The amount of things that can happen are fucking limitless. It's funny with 21 Savage too. He's always ahead of the beat and shit. He don't give a fuck. They don't slide that shit around in Pro Tools. They just give it to it how he said it when he was fucked up. If you're on Percocet, you can't tell the difference, I guess. I don't know why I keep saying he's on Percocet. He always talks about he's on Percocet. But Donald Trump talking about the drug problem is... Donald Trump thinks we're going to solve the drug problem if we build a wall on the Mexican border. That's going to stop Percocet and codeine from fucking everybody up. I wasn't going to talk anything about Trump today, but I did want to say a couple things. I want to talk about what I saw today. If you pay any attention to the Trump shit, you are aware of a silly fellow named Sean Spicer, who's the White House press secretary. I think that's his official title. He's the one that gives press conferences every week about like what's going on and lets people ask him questions. So I guess maybe yesterday, the Republican. So Obamacare is the health care plan that, you know, Obama had laid out. It was called the Affordable Care Act, but everybody likes to call it the Obamacare Act. Everybody called it not the act, they just call it Obamacare. Of course, when they do the man on the street interviews with the average Republican, they don't even realize that those are two separate things, and they love the Affordable Care Act. It's just people just don't like it because it's called Obamacare. It's the sole reason they want to repeal it, in my opinion. Anyway, the Republicans came out with their version of health care that was going to replace Obamacare. And, you know, I didn't fucking look at all the facts. I will maybe do a little bit of research on it. I don't understand health insurance anyway. I really don't. Like, I have health insurance, and it really is hard to understand. I don't really get the debate. If you fucking ask me, everybody should get it for free like they do in every other goddamn country. I was in the UK. A friend got hurt. He went to the fucking doctor. You just go. There's no fucking bill. There's no anything. There's no paperwork. You just go and they fucking fix you. It's like us. It's like, you know, we go to public school. They don't charge you for public school. They don't charge you to drive on the roads. I mean, I guess there's tolls here and there, but, you know, they don't charge you for these things. They're public services. They're provided for you. And in almost every other, I don't know the stats here, y'all, but I know that in almost every other first world country, healthcare is guaranteed and free. But not in this country because somehow the rich people have convinced the poor people that that's some bullshit. I don't get it. If it was up to me, we you know, maybe our taxes have to be a little higher. I don't know, but I can also tell you that it's definitely not cheaper because we're making it private. Maybe in some cases it's better. Maybe like, you know, private companies that make more money might have incentive to do better. I don't know. But they also have incentive to make drugs that are just for sale. They have less incentive to cure the problems and more incentive to make drugs that you buy that you have to take forever. There's been many cases in the past where companies have done shit like that. And if you watch late night television in America, every other commercial is a fucking drug commercial for some shit they made up. Restless leg syndrome. I know there's somebody out there with a shaking ass leg like, hey, what are you talking about, Wax? I got that. Yeah. Maybe you do. But the way that they make these commercials, there's really only 10% of the people taking this shit that actually have restless leg syndrome. Other people are just like, yeah, my leg shakes. I need to buy that. Yeah, I'm going to talk to my doctor about that. Yeah, I need to buy that. These motherfuckers are raking in the money out here. If it was up to me, because I don't really care about, I don't know. I don't have this thing that a lot of Americans have where they just hate. They hate the idea of their tax money going to other people. Yeah, my tax is going that shit. So many right-wing people on my Facebook are mad about people getting things such as welfare and food stamps. But they weren't mad about, I'm going to fuck up the total. What was it, 7 trillion? 70 trillion? 7,000 gazillion? I don't remember how much they gave the banks in the bailout. I don't remember. But I do remember looking at stats that it ridiculously trumped the entire total of settlements for things such as welfare, food stamps. That's how they get you, man. They make poor people think that other poor people are the problem while they take all the fucking big money. Then they tell you all this fucking nonsense, man. It pisses me off. I wasn't going to get into it. I'm not even talking about what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about a little thing. But yeah, they tell all these fucking rich people and people in control. I mean, if you saw the fucking people that Trump is hiring, if you open up your goddamn eyes, you know, the person he appointed to be the head of the EPA has sued the EPA 14 times. When he was Attorney General of Oklahoma, the person who ran his campaign was the head of an oil company there that was all about, you know, the fracking. The person that's the head of the EPA is a climate change denier. As I saw somebody say, hey, man, that's like putting a fox in charge of watching the henhound, which it is. It's just ridiculous. And when they get on fucking TV, y'all, when they get on TV and they tell you they're going to, quote unquote, create jobs, ask yourself this. What kind of fucking jobs are they talking about? Yeah, when they make fucking 20 Walmarts and themselves make billions of dollars, yeah, they're providing jobs, but that's the fucking job you want? You want to be a Walmart worker? That's what we want? We want to be like the little fucking minion-ass cog in their wheel? We want to do all the work for them and while they make these huge sums of money and they're going to fucking tell you that they're doing you a favor? That's the way it's working here, man. Anyway, I'm sure some of you fucking hate me. I don't give a fuck. 37 years old, man. Suck my dick. 37 spiritual in this bitch. My point was that the dude Sean Spicer came out there, and you know, a lot of people weren't happy with the Republican version of healthcare. I don't know what they're calling it. I've seen people call it Trump care, which I figured out. I figured that, you know, that's what people would call it. What I love is I saw somebody on Twitter say that, you know, Trump care, they should call it Don T care. Donald Trump care, but it spells don't care. It looks better when you see it written out with a hashtag. But this motherfucker Sean Spicer, as the spokesperson for the leader of the free world, that's what people call the president. I don't know why they could say that, but the most powerful person in the world, arguably. Definitely the most talked about person in the world right now by a landslide is Donald Trump, and his official spokesperson, when explaining why the new version of the new healthcare act is better than the old one, the Obama one, he brought out a visual aid. His visual aid was a stack of papers that were like, you know, 7 inches tall, next to a stack of paper that was like 3 inches tall. The 3 inches tall one was the Republican Health Care Act. The 7 inches tall one was the Democrat Health Care Act. And he explained, it's easy. Just look at it. Look how big the Democrat bill is. Look at the government just interfering with your life with this 7-inch tall bill. See ours? Smaller. Like, it doesn't matter what's on the goddamn pages. It couldn't be better because there's more shit written down. They could have maybe thought out things hard. I have no fucking idea, but to tell me that looking at the size of them makes any fucking difference, what kind of fucking idiot do you take me for? I can tell you this, people around the world that watch that shit, people from other countries look at that shit and they think we're a fucking laughing stock. I can tell you that. It's fucking laughable that you're the spokesman for the president and that's your pitch. Look at these two piles of paper. Ours is the shorter one. Are you fucking kidding me? It's insane, but funny. I definitely laughed out loud when I saw that. There's something really silly about that dude, Sean Spicer, anyway. Okay, that's my political thing for today. 37 spiritual, out. But now, I'm not out. I'm going to do the questions and shout-outs. All right. I grew up in the streets without no heart. Let's see here. What do we got? Shout-outs. Lucas from Ohio. I noticed I actually listened to some of the last podcasts because I had to edit something out. I noticed there was all these little, hear that? That's because I use a handheld microphone when I do the podcast because I'm a fucking moron and I pace around like a crazy person in my studio. And so if you're hearing a lot of noises besides just my dumbass breathing, a lot of that is my fingers moving against the microphones. I apologize for that. And, you know, for the last million episodes of the podcast, I'm sure you probably heard that. Lucas from Ohio. Patty and Ryan from Ireland. We got Andrew L., a.k.a. Finn Tokes. We got Hassan K., a.k.a. Saddam Hussein. What up, son? Saddam Hussein wanted me to do the call someone and fuck with them segment on the podcast, but I don't want to. I don't want to do that with podcast listeners because I don't want to fucking just because I call Hassan K. I'm not going to call everybody. You know what I mean? I think that segment of the podcast has long since died. That segment of the podcast is like way too many young people from 21 Savage's neighborhood that he witnessed die, and that's why now he has no heart. It's fucking crazy, man. Now I can't get 21 Savage out of my head. He's like a fucking a character in a horror movie. Like now I'm scared. He's like 21 Savage should be the new Freddy. When you go to sleep, you should when you go to sleep, you should see him and have to dodge from him and his crew. We got Ed from Chicago, Trevor from Sacramento, aka Trev916, and he made sure not 916. Trev916. Trev916 recommends Joe Budden's podcast. Got a lot of recommendations today on the podcast. Joe Budden's podcast, which I've never listened to. I would listen, not saying I wouldn't, but also according to Trev, that was the podcast that inspired Meek Mill to say he didn't know what a podcast was, which in turn gave us that version of the Wax's podcast theme, which we probably won't hear for a while because we will be inundated with amateur themes. Amateur jingles. But I'm actually excited to hear what's in my inbox. So next week, new jingle. Joe Budden's podcast recommended by Trev916. The next name we got on the shout out list is Barbaric Eric. Barbaric Eric. One of my favorite names I've received. We got Young Poodle from Washington. Justin K from Seattle. Who was at it seems like every week I'm getting people that were at the same show. There were a couple people this week that were at the Seattle show at the Crocodile of Wintervention, which was at the in December of 2014, I believe. 13, 14, I don't know. Justin K from Seattle was there. And you know what his message, his recommendation, I love this. Justin K's recommendation was Wax's podcast. Thanks for that recommendation. All right, we got Ryan M. the songwriter. Speaking of podcast recommendations, Ryan M. the songwriter has his own podcast. It is called Nobody's Listening. It is self-described as, quote, a songwriter and a screenwriter talk about music and movies, unquote. And I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't listened to this yet, but I swear to fucking God, this week I'm going to listen to Ryan M. the songwriter's podcast. Recently, I've been like, I don't know if any of you guys do this, but recently I've become one of those people that when I go to sleep, some people always fall asleep to TV. Some people fall asleep to music. I've kind of become one of those people that does that, except I've been listening to podcasts. And it's fucked up, but I actually kind of like boring, monotonous ones for late at night because it helps me go to sleep. So maybe I won't listen to Ryan M's because the ones that I listen to and get into it hurts. It makes me not fall asleep. The ones that I like. But anyway, Ryan M. the songwriter. It's called Nobody's Listening. It's on YouTube, and there's already 14 episodes out there for your enjoyment. So make sure you check that out. All right, this was good news this week. We got an email from Raul Justice. If you remember, 2 podcasts ago, somebody was like, yo, I think Hassan K said this. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Hassan K was like, yo, what's up with all the old school listeners, such as Raul Justice? He says, I'm still listening, fam. Look at you getting all them downloads. New listeners don't know the hell you've New listeners don't know the hell you've put OG listeners like me through, who've been around since day one. Podcast comes first, my ass. But alas, I'm still listening to you talk shit about uninteresting facts. I still check for a new podcast at least once a week. Well, I appreciate that, I appreciate that, Raul Justice. And I can tell you that the next 4 weeks, being that I'll be sober, I got this challenge going on. And I'm trying to stay consistent with the podcast for, A, just because I should always be like that, and B, because I'm trying to do this advertising shit. I bet you that if you check once a week, the next 4 weeks, you will find 4 podcasts. Yogi Savage, why you trappers? Shout out to longtime friend of the podcast, Chris M. Yeah, here's a special shout out for Chris M from Michigan, man. He now works for Tsunami Premium Vapor. That's TsunamiPremiumVapor.com. They are a great company, and they've been treating him really well, sending him on mad business trips and whatnot. He's only been working there for less than a year. He's been to Vegas a few times, been to Miami. They send him to conferences and shit. Tsunami Premium Vapor. And I looked at their website when he sent it to me. They got a bunch of awesome products. They got vapes and shit you can smoke wax out of and all kind of dope shit. And I'm not getting paid to say that, by the way. I'm making nothing to say that. And, Chris M has been supportive of me for many years. And, if that company's treating him well, I'll support that company. Tsunami Premium Vapor. I'm sure I'll find out next week that they have some kind of fucking sex slave ring going on as I promoted their website for free. But hey, that's my fucking luck. Yo, Wax. So in podcast, this is from Geronimo Skywolf Guerrero. So in podcast 128, I noticed somebody emailed in for podcast recommendations. I'd like to recommend The Cypher, Cipher. It's an in-depth hip-hop interview podcast. My favorite episode is the one with Scarface, but there's a lot of amazing episodes. I hope this suggestion helps. It's thecyphershow.com, and this is not his podcast. I had never heard of this before. Thought I was up on all the cool internet stuff, but apparently not. I looked. There's like 150 episodes of this thing called The Cypher, and it's all a bunch of legitimate names. And there's nothing I love more than interview shows with entertainers, comedians, rappers, singers, musicians, actors. I love hearing about the story of somebody coming up in the entertainment world. I don't know. It's just entertaining to me. So I recommend that, even though I haven't listened to 1 second of it. I bet you it's cool if you're saying that it's cool. I just bet you it is, and I should be listening to that because that sounds like something I would fuck with. All right, we got the one, the only. Never been nobody like him, ain't never gonna be nobody like him in the future. Nate the Plate from Michigan. What up, Wax? Nate the Plate here. Heard you talking about other podcasts on your previous podcast, and I want to throw in a recommendation here. The podcast, Last Podcast on the Left. God damn, we're doing all I didn't even realize how many of these that have this. The podcast, Last Podcast on the Left, is a super funny podcast in which 3 comedians, Ben Kissel, Marcus Parks, and Henry Zabrowski, talk about various horror topics, whether it be movies, serial killers / rapists, cannibals, chupacabras, aliens, whatever it may be. If it's genuinely terrifying, they cover it. Great podcast if you're into the improv style type podcasts. Sorry about making you say the word podcast so much, although I was kind of doing it on purpose. Podcast. By the way, Thundercat's new album, Drunk, is pretty fucking sweet. I don't know, I just like it. Great album cover too. Here's some stuff I'll attach. Hope it all comes through. And he sent me a bunch of stupid ass pictures. Now, I'm not familiar with this podcast, Last Podcast on the Left, but I read this email for 2 reasons. A, because I thought it was funny that you made me say podcast a lot, even though while reading that, it didn't seem as bad as I thought. That was the first reason I wanted to read this from Nate the Plate. 3 reasons. Second reason, because he's Nate the Plate. Third is because Thundercat's new album, Drunk, that he recommends. Now, that is an album that I can put my fucking full stamp on. Full stamp of recommendation on. I listened to that shit a bunch of times, and I fucking love it. The album Drunk by Thundercat is fucking awesome. I love the song Tokyo. I love Friend Zone. I love the whole thing. The whole thing makes me feel, it really does make me feel like, I wouldn't say it makes me feel drunk, but it makes me feel like I've had like 3 mimosas and also live in a computer world. 3 mimosas deep in a video game land. That's how that album makes me feel like. It's a great album to drive to. It'll brighten your day. It's so good, man. It's just so different and cool, but like still familiar. You're still familiar with some of the vibes, but it's fucking badass. All right. This next one, Paul K, who makes music, wants me to say some shit so he can sample it. Oh, yeah. This is Paul Corman. I can say his last name because he's a music artist. He goes by Paul Corman. His SoundCloud is soundcloud.com/thevolumeremote. And he signed his email as Paul the All Ball Call Fall Mall. Paul the All Ball Call Fall Mall. All right. He wants me to say some shit so he can sample it. You know, he makes music and he wants to take my voice, like if he downloaded the podcast and chopped the following things up. He wants me to say them, so I told him I would. He wants me to say the volume remote, because that's the name of his project. And he also wants me to say, break it down, Mr. Corman, because his name is Paul Corman. So those two phrases he wants me to say. Let me give him a couple little options. The volume remote. The volume remote. The volume remote. The volume remote? The volume remote. 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 Okay? And this next phrase he wants to use on drops. So I guess I should say it like that. Break it down, Mr. Corman. 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 I'll give it to you separately. Break. 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 It. 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 Down. 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 Mr. Corman. 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 Okay, I think that's fucking enough. I think that's enough you can work with there, Paul. All right, we got a couple more here. We got Danny from Sheffield. Hi, Mike. I remember the first podcast coming out and listening to it thinking it was mad as fuck that you were podcasting. I used to email a bit, and I'd say I'm an OG podcast listener. I don't know what year I started listening to you, but the first song you released while I was a fan was Two Wheels. So, bullshit questions. Would you rather give up cheese or oral sex? That's a ridiculous question. Of course I'd rather give up cheese. I'm not a big, I love cheese, but when I go shopping at the grocery store, whether I'm on my 30 days of health or not, I never ever buy cheese. I don't really give a fuck about cheese. Don't get me wrong. If I'm at a restaurant, they got a good something with cheese on it, I fucks with it. Love a good quesadilla. Love a good grilled cheese sandwich. Love cheese. Just don't really give a fuck about it. Definitely, I would say I probably eat cheese more than I give or receive oral sex. That's probably the case. And I don't eat cheese that much, so what did I say about my sex life? Am I right? But yeah, I would give up cheese all day. I would give up cheese forever just to have oral sex once. To receive oral sex once. I'd get cheese for life. Cheese for life versus oral sex once. Nah, oral sex 3 times. 3 times. Give or take. I like giving too. All right. Would you rather say everything on your mind or never be able to speak your mind? Okay, so that means if it was involuntary and you were all you could do was just I'd rather never speak my mind. I'd rather be mute. Not even because I'm afraid people would hear my inner truth, but I'm afraid it would just be fucking annoying because I'd constantly be talking. In every situation, nobody else would be talking. It sounds just like this. What it sounds like right now, me just talking, me looking around my room and thinking about things and saying things out loud is like that's all it would sound like. So I guess that's a technicality because I know that question is supposed to mean would you rather everybody know what's on your mind or rather never be able to talk? What it really means is talk, it's way worse than you'd have to constantly speak. Then they know what's on your mind. All right. How did you come up with the line, I got crazy trains of thought, I got locomotives? Like, that shit is my favorite bar ever. It's crazy. And though it seems obvious, that is some difficult shit to come up with. Well, I'll tell you what. I just thought of locomotives and I thought it's crazy motives. And then trains of thought comes from there. But I'll tell you this much. There's like a bunch of other rappers that have said shit like that. As a rapper, sometimes you think of a line and you put it out there, and then every once in a while on Twitter, you're like, oh, you'll get like, oh, blah, blah, blah said that. Blah, blah, blah said that. And I feel like the Locomotives one had at least 3 or 4 other rappers that have said something along that line. So it just goes to show you, man, especially in the world, in today's world with billions of people and millions of artists, and the ability to get all the information you want, just Google basically. Like, if you're going to be a rapper and you want to be original, if you're going to be a comedian and you want to be original, like, you got to be super original. It's almost like it's like if you're basic, if you say like, yo, I'm sick like the flu, what you going to do? Like, you can't really be like, oh, you bit sick like the flu from fucking Scott LaRock. you bit sick like the flu from the first MC ever. Like, if you say basic shit, it's not really a bite. If you're like, yo, I got all these bottles and I got all these models, like, you're not gonna be like, oh, you stole that from somebody. But if you try to be original and come up with these weird ones, like I got crazy trains of thought, I got locomotives, somebody might have done that shit. And you got to live up to that. So it's kind of cool that it makes you have to be even more and more original. And that's I can't remember who else said shit like that, but that's the line that multiple people have hit me with. And like, did you get that from blah blah blah? Did you get that from blah blah blah? But I'm glad you like it. I thought it was good too. From that same song, I actually thought a better line was something about I spit the boiling heat. Plus, I put it down for the ladies like a toilet seat. When I made that up, I was like, yo, that's too like perfect. I put it down for the ladies like a toilet seat. I remember having the thought of like, that's too perfect. Somebody else used that. And I probably Googled it. Probably Googled that in quotes and rap lyrics. I've definitely done that mad times before, thinking that somebody, especially just with words that rhyme, definitely done that before. But as far as I know, nobody used that before. I don't know. All right, could you give a shout out to Sheffield United Football Club? And if you are really struggling for filling time, sing Greasy Chip Buddy. Google it, dickhead. I'm not doing that. Greasy Chip Buddy. Buddy is spelled Butty. All right, well, I am gonna fucking Google it because it's probably some dumbass soccer chant, huh? Google.com. Greasy Chip Buddy. Hold up. Greasy Chip Buddy song. That's 51 seconds long. What are you, nuts? Sounds like some... Is that... I don't... Sounds like some fucking Billy Joel meets the Beatles fucking sing-along Piano Man type of song. Quite frankly, it fucking stinks. All right? Fuck your song. Fuck your football club, okay, Danny? They both stink. Just fucking with you, man. Thanks for the email. I appreciate it. I'm sure that Sheffield United Football Club is a great soccer program. Okay, let's see what we got. We got Brett Lando from Seattle. All right, yeah, this is just one. I'm just gonna read this because, like, for those out there that those people out there that make music, you gotta understand, like, sometimes, man, when you put your music out there, you don't know who's listening to it. You know what I mean? Your records. You gotta say records. You can't say albums, man. You can't say albums and songs. You gotta say your records. Anybody who says the word record when referring to their song or album, unless you're from New York, if you say record, yo, I got this new record, it's okay. That's different. But if you say, I got this new record, anybody who says fucking record when referring to the new song is a pretentious dick. Fuck you. I mean that. This is from Brett Lando from Seattle, now located in San Diego, longtime listener of music, short-time listener of the podcast. I'm glad I'm one that appreciates your sense of humor and your talent. Well, I appreciate that, Brett. I saw you up in Seattle at the Crocodile back in 2013. You did New Crack, and you rapped directly into my camera. Anyway, you created a lot of good memories in my life, one being that concert, another being the countless times I got stoned to your music with my friends. And there was this other time I broke up with my girlfriend, so I was having a rough week. It was the same week you released Livin' Foul. A few days after the breakup, I was going to the House of Blues to see a concert in downtown San Diego with some friends. I got hammered in my car by myself as I waited for them to get to the venue. That was also the first time I listened to Livin' Foul. So I'm drunk in my car, depressed, and after that I listened to and then after listening to Scumbag, This One's on Me, I Don't Need No Drugs, You're Not Good Enough, Sugar Cube, and No Smoking in the House. There I am, loving life as I'm jamming out to your music in my 1987 Chevy Blazer, about to see a Frank Turner concert. Damn, 87? That's an old car. It ended up being a great night, and I don't think I would have had that great of a night if it wasn't that first hour of getting drunk and listening to your music. Thank you. You're the man. Now, some of you are like, man, that sucks. He was all depressed and he was by himself drinking. What the fuck? But, a lot of us do shit like that. I understand the beauty of that. I understand how that can make your night great. I understand how that feels good. And you know what? I appreciate you sending me that message. And I'm just, to anybody that makes music or art out there, like in this day and age especially, like you put your recorded music out there, you have no idea like the experiences people are having. So I appreciate anybody sending me something like that. It makes me feel good to read shit like that. You put out an album and you're wondering if you have a little bit of success and you have fans and people are buying the shit, all you can really see is the numbers. You're like, all right, that many people bought it. But you don't know if people love it. You don't know if people hate it. But more importantly, you don't know if people have like special experiences to it. Maybe they don't even give a fuck about it, but something happened to them in a situation in their life. And now, now You're Not Good Enough is a song that they'll always remember forever because the song that they fucking lost their virginity to or whatever. There's crazy shit like that happens, man. Good and bad. I've heard stories of people overdosing to my shit. There was a guy that overdosed while wearing my T-shirt. That's horrible to hear, but it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna leave. I don't know how. I don't even know why I connected that shitty memory with this one, but it is interesting. People have experiences. Life is crazy. You know what I mean? And as the street poet 21 Savage once said, I grew up in the streets without no heart. So that's why I make comments like that. 37 Spiritual. That's what I have to say this week. That was the end. So be safe out there.